Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 27 of the Zoomer Sports Radio podcast. And as always, I'm back with my normal co-host. Will, unfortunately, is not here, who is also joining the show. But Pat, how you doing today?
I'm doing great today. Good to do a show again. It's been about a week. Unfortunate that Will could not come, but he'll have other plans in the future.
Yeah, I believe we'll be doing a show with Will on Friday. I don't know if we'll be able to do it, but that's the hope, is we'll do a show with Will on Friday. So, big things going on in the world of sports right now. We got last night, Game 1 of the World Series, and it did not disappoint.
It definitely did not. I mean, from the beginning, we just saw a high-scoring game. I mean, we saw, I think it was just a tale of two sides. Kershaw obviously looked amazing. He had a great night. Glasnow, on the other hand, looked a little subpar, but I think we're in for a good series. I think this is definitely going to go to at least 6, I'm feeling.
Yes, and we all know who I took. I took the Dodgers in my World Series prediction yesterday, who I predicted who was going to win. I had them going 6 games, and let's face it, the Dodgers looked amazing yesterday. They really did. It all started off, really the first 4 innings, I thought it was going to be a pitcher's duel between Glasnow and Kershaw. That clearly did not happen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the first 4 innings or so went scoreless, and I thought, oh, here we go again. But, no, definitely second half of the game, it really kicked off starting with the Cody Bellinger homer. And then other guys like Muncy and other guys were starting to pick it up, and the Dodgers offense really got rolling. And Rays didn't have a great night, but, hey, I think that they're going to have one of those nights in the World Series also.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Clayton Kershaw looked unbelievable last night. Maybe it was the dirty hat. Did you see his hat last night? His hat was
disgusting.
Filthy. I think maybe I got to put the hat on to talk about Kershaw. But here, let's face it. Clayton Kershaw pitched amazing. Was it the filthy hat?
It may have been.
I don't know. Clayton Kershaw pitched amazing last night. He had the filthy hat, and that maybe got rid of his World Series yips because, as you know, he is over a 5 ERA in the World Series. But yesterday's game, Kershaw pitched 6 innings, only gave up 2 hits. He only gave up 1 run. That was the home run to Kevin Kiermaier. He got 8 Ks, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and let's just face it, unbelievable performance. That's what you want to get out of your ace in a Game 1 of the World Series. Unbelievable for Kershaw. Now I'm taking this hat off.
No doubt. And to have an ERA of 1.5 in Game 1, especially considering the fact that he's not had the best performances in the World Series in the past, I think this just gives him a lot of confidence.
I think he's trying to silence the haters.
Definitely. I think that he's on a mission this World Series, and, in an unlikely year, I think this is a good time for him to show up.
Yeah, I mean, you want to know who also showed up? Was the Dodgers hitting. Here, listen. Betts, he hit a homer off Fleming. Bellinger hit that bomb you just talked about. That 2-run homer was in the 4th or 5th, I believe. It was one of the 2. I believe the 4th.
Yeah,
and then
it was the 4th.
Betts had a multi-hit game, but good. And then, want to know who didn't show up?
Corey Seager.
He didn't. He was my pick to win World Series MVP, too.
I mean, he was NLCS MVP.
Yeah. So, I thought Seager was going to win LCS MVP and World Series MVP. I really did. But here, want to know who didn't show up was the Tampa Bay Rays.
No doubt.
Let's listen here. Major guys who did not do anything in the lineup. No impact from them in the lineup. We had Randy Arozarena. He only got on base once with a walk, but all outs. Brandon Lau did not get a hit. Hunter Renfroe and Austin Meadows, and they're both their 2 at-bats, no hits. And then Willy Adames. And these guys are their main producers, besides Kiermaier and G-Man Choi for that Rays team.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Wendell was probably one of the best. He had a hit, but other than that, yeah, I can't really find too much positive to say about the Rays hitting. And then
besides Kiermaier's homer.
Yeah, besides Kiermaier's homer, I think that this was just an off night for them. But it's a really talented young team, so maybe the lights are just a little bit too bright for them.
And then, all right, we got World Series Game 2 tonight, 7:08 p.m. on Fox at Globe Life Field. Who you got tonight? Here's who I like. I'm liking the Rays. I think they're going to tie up the series tonight. I mean, they got their ace going, Blake Snell, who's pitched wonderful in the postseason. He has a career 2.5 ERA in the postseason and a career 1.03 WHIP, which is astonishing in the postseason. And he will be going against Tony Gonsolin, who has been a little shaky this postseason. But I like the Rays here in Game 2. Blake Snell will get it done. He's a former Cy Young winner. He will get it done.
I'd love to agree with you. However, my gut is telling me the Dodgers are going to win this one again tonight. I think it's going to be a closer game.
You think they're going to start off 2-0? Yeah, here. The over-under is 8 for this game. I'm taking the under after that explosion from the Dodgers offense yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that this is going to be closer. I'm going to say I don't think it's going to be quite as explosive offensively as we saw last night, but I think that the Dodgers are going to keep that momentum going from, they had about a 6-run or so. I don't know how many innings it was across, but they put up points quickly, so I don't think that's going to happen again. But I do think the Dodgers are going to take this one. I think that the Rays just need one more game or so. I think they'll be competitive, but I feel like the Dodgers are going to take this one in the end. I don't think I would have the Rays winning Game 3, but they'll definitely win one of these next 2 games, but I'm going to take the Dodgers tonight to win by like 1 or 2 runs.
I disagree with you. I like the Rays winning, and I like a 3-2 game. Just remember, you got Snell. I think the Dodgers' bats will go silent, and the Rays, their bats won't. They'll be the same, about the same. Look for a Rosarena to get a hit or do some damage. Because after that off night, but I really like the Rays this game, especially with Blake Snell pitching.
Definitely, I think that if I had to point to something, I wouldn't point as much to the lack of hits that we saw from last night. I think I would look at as we need to get our pitching better because Glasnow. I don't know what his ERA last night was. It was like 12 something. It's not good. So I think if they get Snell in there, fresh off of a couple days of rest, if he gets going, I think the pitching will be better, and I think that that'll definitely help the Rays in this game and be able to limit the explosive lineup of the Dodgers.
Well, the problem with the Rays was they need to get guys on base, whether that's hits, walks, hit by pitches, because if they batted 400 at the plate with runners in scoring position, which is not too shabby. 400 is pretty good, like 2 for 5. But that's the problem, is the 5. You need to get more guys in scoring position. You need to get more guys in the second and third so you can ring them around with a hit, a sac fly.
No doubt.
A ground ball that scores a guy. They need to get more base runners.
If they get the base runners...
And that will be way easier tonight, not facing Kershaw, who is perhaps maybe... He's a top 10 pitcher in all time of baseball history.
Yeah, who's starting for the Dodgers tonight? Is it Buehler?
Tony Gonsolin.
Tony Gonsolin, yeah. So I think that if the Rays can get the people on bases and then capitalize by bringing them home, I think that...
Any way possible.
Yeah, any way possible. I think that that'll definitely help them a lot. It'll give them an advantage to win Game 2, but it should be a good game.
Yeah. Pat, who do you think's going to win the series after that last night?
After that last night... I'm going to say Dodgers in 6. I think the Rays will keep it competitive. I know they're going to win a game. They're not going to get swept.
Oh, that's a fact.
They're not going to get swept.
Especially when you have Blake Snell, Charlie Morton, and Tyler Glasnow.
No doubt.
Even though Glasnow got hit last night.
Yeah, best trio in the league. But, yeah. I'm going to say Dodgers in 6. I just don't think the Rays are quite good enough. They're close. They're not quite good enough to win a World Series. But I got Dodgers in 6.
All right, let's switch it over to some NFL. So we're gonna get this Dodger hat out of here. Oh, it's actually kind of impressive what I did there. I flung it through the stairs
over both rails.
Oh yeah, it went through the bottom one. But yeah, all right. We're gonna talk some NFL Week 6, Pat. We're gonna play a game. We're gonna play a game called what? Yeah, let's just call it biggest disappointment. Let's be real. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna give you a couple teams, or disappointment or surprise. Like, let's be real. Okay. Yeah, disappointment or surprise. Or here, maybe I've changed this idea. Or all right, here, underachieving or bad. Let's just be right there. Underachieving or terrible. That's the game. All right, so I'm gonna give you a couple teams, and you got to tell me if they're just a bad team or they're underachieving.
Or for like the good,
surprising or a good team.
Or for like the teams with good records, you could do like legit or a pretender.
Yeah.
Or an imposter.
Yeah, that's all right.
Among Us theme.
All right, yeah. So, underachieving or terrible? The Cincinnati Bengals.
They're a rebuilding team, so I'm going to say terrible, but I can't put it too much on
Let's just
the
be
Bengals.
real.
They got a rookie quarterback. They got no offensive line. They got no defense.
They got Geno
Second-year head
Atkins still.
coach. Just very young team. They need a year or two. I think that they should try to get in the draft Penei Sewell, the tackle from Oregon. That could really help the offensive line to give Joe Burrow some time, because if you ask him to throw 40 times a game like they're asking him to throw, he's going to get his ribs blistered. So
Yeah.
you need to give him some help. But, yeah, Cincinnati's just not a good team for now.
Here's my take. I'm agree with you. I'm thinking Joe Burrow. They should be 2-3-1 though. They should not be 1-4 because their kicker, who's it, Randy Bullock or
Randy Bullock, yeah.
yeah, he who like hurt himself in that one kick in week 1 versus I believe the Chargers. They should at least have 2 wins, but unfortunately you can't put that loss on Burrow. But Burrow has not looked. He has not looked like he did in LSU.
Oh, he's looked. I think that he still looked impressive. I don't think you can put it all on Burrow, but I think you got to give these young quarterbacks some time. But yeah, I thought they should have also beat the Eagles, but we're just gonna say terrible. I don't think anyone thought the Bengals would be good.
All right, next team, the Houston Texans at 1-5.
I would say underachieving because I feel like Deshaun Watson has shown an ability to carry a team at the time. But yeah, I'm gonna say underachieving because I thought they would at least be in the contention for the division title, because it's just not. I didn't think it was that good of a division coming in, but the Colts and the Titans have definitely been some of the best teams in the league this year. But I'm gonna say underachieving. However, I would say terrible just because I feel like they're one of the worst ran teams in the league. I mean, Bill O'Brien got fired. They trade away their best players. It feels like they don't have like any kind of identity on any side of the football. So I'm going to say underachieving because I didn't think they'd be this bad.
Here, I'm going to say underachieving is you. You are more on the bad side. I'm more on the underachieving side. Yes, that team was horribly run. That team was terribly run. Let's be real here. Bill O'Brien, terrible.
I don't know why he thinks he can have the authority as the coach and the GM. Like, don't take the responsibility of both if you don't trust yourself. And he's a good coach. He's a horrible GM. Like, he traded DeAndre Hopkins. He didn't even get a first-round pick.
That was a terrible deal. And David Johnson has been okay.
He's been pedestrian,
but he's
at best.
not been DeAndre Hopkins.
And then they trade for Brandon Cooks from the Rams, who's had a history
that was
of injuries.
actually a good move, I thought. But that's not replacing him. Will Fuller and Randall Cobb are not going to replace DeAndre Hopkins.
The one way I thought this trade could have worked is that when Deshaun's throwing the ball in clutch situations, you don't know who the ball's going to go to, so it can kind of mess up the defense. But at the same time, you need that go-to guy, especially like you can't just keep asking Deshaun Watson to save what's a dysfunctional franchise. And you know, other than J.J. Watt, how good is that defense? Let's be honest.
Whitney Mercilus isn't bad.
Yeah, but
that's only 2 guys. It's an 11-man game, but here is where I might lose some people. All right, listen here. DeAndre Hopkins. Oh my God. Oof. All right, hear me out. Deshaun Watson is still. All right. Oh, I need to just redo I'm lost. Deshaun Watson is still a top 5 quarterback in this league.
no doubt.
You agree with me?
Yes.
All right, here, listen to me out. Deshaun Watson is still a top 5 quarterback in this league, still being 1-5. Here, listen. He's 3rd in passing yards in the league. He's 10th in completions, just in the top 10. He's 5th in touchdowns, 13-5 TD to interception ratio. Pretty good. That's more than 2 touchdowns per interception. 13th in QBR. Now listen, where that goes. He's been sacked 19 times. That's terrible, but you can't blame that on him. You got to, even though he's agile, that is the offensive line's fault. Deshaun Watson is still a top 5 quarterback in the league. Josh Allen isn't ahead of him. I can tell you that right now.
I completely agree with you. I'm just going to give you 10 quarterbacks. Tell them what all of them have in common, except Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's the outlier here. Okay, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. We'll say Drew Brees.
Winning teams?
I'm talking about like top 5, top 10 quarterback. Okay, Deshaun Watson. This is not in any order, by the way. Okay, so that's 6. Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill,
Would you throw Derek Carr in there? He's had a great year.
I'd say top.
He's had a great year.
Not top 10.
But he's had a great year. Would you throw Dak Prescott in there?
It's hard to rank QBs. I mean, I feel like I'm leaving some guys out.
Would you throw Stafford in there?
Like, there's about 20 guys I could throw.
I think Stafford's a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
His team is so goddamn terrible.
You know what? 9 through 10 we could debate, so I'll just give you those 8. So I said Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Tannehill, Wilson, Rodgers, Breeze, and Watson.
Brady?
Okay, Brady.
Yeah, Brady just had him.
For 10th, let's do Matt Ryan.
Really? Matt Ryan? I'd go Derek Carr over Matt Ryan.
Okay,
I'd go Kyler Murray.
No, but like Derek Carr doesn't really fit the theme of what I'm trying to do.
All right.
Let's do... Actually, no. Matt Ryan doesn't really work either. Let's do Ben Roethlisberger, because his team's actually winning.
Yeah.
What do all of those teams...
all those teams, like, in the playoffs right now.
They have great support systems. Deshaun Watson does not. Like, if you put Deshaun Watson on the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm not sure they wouldn't be any worse.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But if you put Mahomes on the Texans, I think maybe they win one more game.
Definitely.
They're 2-4.
No, Deshaun Watson's definitely going to... He's talented enough to take you to the playoffs. They have had a tough schedule. I'll give him that. But
I mean, yeah, facing the Chiefs and the Ravens in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the Titans. So
I
just feel bad for him, and I don't think he's going to want to stay in Houston much longer.
All right, let's go back to underachieving or terrible. The Denver Broncos.
Okay. I'm going to eliminate them because I think it's unfair because Drew Lock's been injured.
Cortland Sutton.
They've had injuries, but I'm going to say underachieving.
Yeah,
I thought they would be really good.
I thought they were going to be good. I thought the Raiders shocked me.
The Raiders shocked me, definitely. We'll get to them later, hopefully. But, yeah, the Broncos, I'm going to say underachieving. They've just been riddled with injuries. I think Drew Lock has the chance to be one of the best QBs in the league later on. But this team had a really good offseason. I thought granted they beat the Patriots and are sitting at 2-3, so not terrible, but I think they could make the playoffs. It's not too late, but I don't think at this point, with all the talented teams in the AFC, I don't think that they would make the playoffs at this point. I think they just got unlucky, so I'm going to say underachieving.
Yeah, that's a good call. All right. Now this one is interesting. The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my gosh, underachieving.
2-4,
Okay.
And you're winning the division.
Dude.
The NFC East is a joke. Are you kidding me? The Dallas Cowboys, they're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. They went out and got all these guys on defense. Clinton Dix, Everson Griffin.
Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, they got great wide receivers. Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. I'm missing one. CeeDee Lamb. They got Zeke Elliott.
Okay, they did not need to draft CeeDee Lamb. Draft a cornerback or a really good safety. They
or
did not
re-sign
need
Byron
CeeDee Lamb.
Jones.
Or re-sign Byron Jones, exactly. Like, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is not a good owner. He's a great friend. Those do not make great owners.
You really think? I mean, Jerry Jones, that's what we're talking about. Jerry Jones is a great owner. Listen here. He has built the Dallas Cowboys as, like, the most, like, valuable team in the NFL. It's either them or the Patriots.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is a great owner. Not only has he brought Super Bowls, not recently, he brought Super Bowls to the Cowboys. He's built one of the nicest, if not the nicest stadium in the NFL. He has brought millions to the NFL. Jerry Jones is a great owner. Love him or hate him, Jerry Jones is a good owner.
Jerry Jones in general is a good owner, but they haven't been to an NFC Championship game in, I think, 1995 was the last time.
Are you going to blame Jones on that? Or are you going to blame Jason Garrett?
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't done a good job in getting the right coach. Like, he tries to make friends with... It seems like the reason Jason Garrett was there so long was because of his relationship with Jerry Jones, and that's not what... That wasn't the best decision for the organization. Now you get Mike McCarthy, a washed-up coach with the Packers, who got fired, and rightfully so, because look how well Rodgers is doing with Matt LaFleur.
He's so much better.
Mike McCarthy is not the right coach for the system. I mean, they said Mike McCarthy isn't good with running backs. Look how poorly Zeke has been doing this year. Part of that's mainly due to the offensive line being banged up, but
I mean that was like a top 3 offensive line a couple years back.
Yeah, it's just been getting old and injured, and Zeke hasn't been doing well. Dak got injured. Obviously, you can blame some of it on injuries, but to a certain point,
They're
I feel like
underachieving
you
so
just gotta-
bad.
I feel like they hired the wrong coach. They need to get like a Lincoln Riley and Urban Meyer, so a coach who's gonna take control of the offense. And I don't think Mike McCarthy was that guy. I didn't like the pick.
I think Mike McCarthy will be like a Jim Tom Sula, a Freddie Kitchens. He'll get fired after 1 year.
Yeah.
I really do. Mike McCarthy will be fired after this year.
But anyway, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say?
Underachieving or terrible?
I was gonna say underachieving because
I would
thought
agree with you.
People thought they'd be Super Bowl contenders. By the way, tomorrow night is Thursday Night Football. Eagles versus Giants NFC matchup. That game will actually be played on Comedy Central.
Yeah, because it's a joke.
Yeah.
That will lead me into my next team. The Philadelphia Eagles. Underachieving or terrible?
If you're telling me that this team last year had 18 players, well, I don't know how many it was, but that many players go in the IR, and they were still able to win the division at 9-7.
Well, the NFC East is a joke.
I would have told you they'd definitely be Super Bowl contenders this year. They got obviously they lost Nelson Aguilar in free agency. Not that big of a loss.
That's not even a loss.
But
really, Nelson Aguilar had 0 hands.
But they had Marquise Goodwin opt out. They got Deshaun Jackson back. They got Alshon Jeffrey. But
do you think they're underachieving or just bad?
I think they're underachieving.
I disagree. Yo, here, listen to this team. This team is terrible. All right, here, listen. Carson Wentz. The dude is terrible. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league now. He is so overrated. He just needs to get out of here. Like, honestly, like, why is Carson Wentz so
I don't think
highly
you can blame
rated?
it on Carson Wentz.
But he's not good anymore. Was he ever good, really?
Yes, he had that. Okay. He had the one MVP season. You know who his
That was-
offensive coordinator was? Frank Wright, the head coach of the Colts.
Yeah.
Look what's happened since then. It's been 9 wins at most.
Yeah, that did help him. But here, listen, he only has 1,400 yards. That's not a lot. Where would that put him? That would put him
That's like 20th.
17th in the league. He leads the league in sacks at 25. I mean, granted, you can't blame all of that on the quarterback, but some you have
he's
to.
throwing the practice squad receivers.
He has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. And let me get to the receiving core. All right, not only practice squad. This is like Division III receivers. Like, holy cow! I haven't seen a more dog shit wide receiving core
I've never
since
heard
like
of-
the Bears in like 2010 when it was Devin Hester and Johnny Knox. Like here, Alshon Jeffrey, the man has had troubles catching the football his whole career, even in Chicago. Deshaun Jackson, that man is ancient. He does not belong on a football field. He gets injured every 5 seconds. He has paper skin and glass bones. He needs to retire. You got Greg Ward, who was a quarterback in college, as your number 3 wide receiver. Are you kidding me? He was a quarterback for Houston under Tom Herman. This Philadelphia Eagles team is a joke, and they just need to rebuild.
Okay, I was probably not thinking that one through. Yes, I agree. They all are bad. They need help. And I just think it was coaching why they were so good. It was just Doug Peterson. I don't know how
He's
much.
a good coach. It's just the team is so awful.
All right,
bad.
next team.
The Minnesota Vikings.
I'd say underachieving just because I think the roster is way too talented. Granted, I thought that the Stephon Diggs trade was a joke.
That was a dumb deal.
I mean, you're basically you're replacing him for Justin Jefferson. Granted, he's
Let's talk about the Eagles taking Jalen
Jalen
Reagor
Reagor from TCU.
over Justin Jefferson. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Anyway, back to you, Pat.
Yeah. Granted, Justin Jefferson has had a good rookie showing his first few games. That trade for Stephon Diggs, I just didn't think it was the best move. Obviously, Kirk Cousins has proven that in clutch situations, he's been nothing short of dog shit.
Dude, if I die, I die. Kirk Cousins, shut up. You are so bad.
You're only speaking on yourself when you say that. So Kirk Cousins' leadership is, undeniably bad.
Terrible.
The defense, that defense is way too talented for what it's been producing. I mean, they traded for Yannick Ngakoue from the Jaguars. Their pass rush should be the best in the league with Danielle Hunter, Eric Kendricks. They lost Linval Joseph, and they lost Everson Griffin, granted. But, they just made so many moves that really hurt them at key spots, but they did keep most of the guys back. I mean, the secondary is one of the best in the league with Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris and someone else I'm forgetting, but
I'm gonna completely disagree with you in a minute.
The linebackers, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, they got talent on the defense. And then Dalvin Cook, last year he was one of the best running backs in the league, and so far this season also.
He's still awesome.
I don't see why this team, and then Kyle Rudolph's a good NFL tight end, so I don't see how this team, I mean, I picked them to win the division. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch there, but anyway, that's how good I thought they were. I thought they could win the division.
I thought the Packers were worse.
I thought the Packers were going to slide behind them, but yeah, I just think this Vikings team is way too talented to be in this position. I'd say underachieving.
I'm going to say bad, just here, because the ownership in Minnesota just refused to help that defense. Listen, that defense last year, one of the best in the league, top 5. Now it's just Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr. Listen, they lost all these guys on defense. They're a terrible team. They lost Mackenzie Alexander. He went to the Bengals. He's a cornerback. They lost Everson Griffin. Their best pass rusher since Jared Allen. They lost Linval Joseph. They released him, which is stupid because where are you gonna have? You literally lost your 2 best pass rushers. You got no guys on the line. They don't draft one, which is dumb. And then they released Xavier Rhodes, who was great, who had a kind of a he didn't have as good a season.
No,
he's
one of the elite corners.
But he was good. Trey Waynes, you get rid of him too. Now you have no cornerbacks, and then you get rid of Stephen Weatherly, your other defensive end. What are you doing, Minnesota? What are you doing? And then you trade Stephon Diggs. Oh, you really think Justin Jefferson, Jeff Gladney, and Troy Dye are going to replace that who you drafted? You drafted a guy out of TCU that never goes well. Let's be real. Name a player in the NFL from TCU that has panned out.
Andy Dalton. When he had protection in Cincinnati, when he had weapons, he was good. He was getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, losing every time.
Okay, but at least he was getting to the playoffs.
I mean, they should have beat the Steelers if Vontaze Burfict didn't exist.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't even play in that game. But
Oh, yeah, it was the AJ McCarron game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's just be real here. The Vikings suck. They're 1-5 for a reason. All right, next team. This is the last of disappointments, and we'll go over to the what's the other one called? The
overachievers are
the imposters or
imposters or legit.
Yeah, legit or imposters. All right, yeah. Last one for the underachieving or just terrible. The Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, terrible. They got no defense other than Grady Jarrett. They drafted a corner, AJ Terrell, but I don't think that's really helped their secondary out that much. They're still
AJ Terrell's from Clemson, so
they're still allowing a good amount of points per game. Obviously, Matt Ryan, I mean, he's gonna throw for a lot of yards because he has to, because they're always gonna be down. And Julio Jones has had, he's had a horrible year. I mean, I've been looking on fantasy week to week. I can't see him putting up big numbers in it.
He's been hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he did decent the first week.
And Todd Gurley,
he's on my team.
Todd Gurley, he's been okay, but hasn't really added that much.
He averages around 12, 14 points in fantasy. I have him in one of my leagues.
And then they added
Calvin Ridley's been doing good though.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley I think
he's our lone bright spot.
He's turned him into the number 1 receiver. But other than that, I really had no expectation of them going into the season. The last few years I picked them to beat the Saints and win the division. It never happened, so I just decided they're just not a good football team. And I think firing Dan Quinn was the right decision. I just think the NFC South, they're definitely the worst team in that division, so I just say they're bad.
Yeah, I don't get, like, here, there's these, NFC thing, like, teams that get to the Super Bowl in the NFC, they just slide down, like, Atlanta slides down, Philadelphia slides down, they just start underachieving, Los Angeles.
The Niners have slid down this year.
Niners, yes. Like, it's unbelievable. The Panthers after Newton got them there in it was Super Bowl 50.
2015.
2015
50,
season,
yeah.
2016 Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl 50. But they just slide down. I don't get that. Is there like a curse in the NFC? Like they can't like find teams that can consistently do well?
I mean, it's the
like
Super
the
Bowl hangover.
AFC.
What can I say?
AFC, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Broncos back in their heyday,
Well,
the
those
Colts
are-
back in their heyday, the Chiefs now.
Yeah.
They can almost sustain. The Ravens.
I don't know.
All right, now let's go to legit or imposters. We're going to start with the Cleveland Browns, the one everyone wants to know. Are they legit or are they an imposter, Pat?
I would say they're an imposter. However, I think the schedule coming up is really easy, so I think they will make the playoffs. I think just Baker Mayfield, I mean, after I saw them play the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, I'd say Baker's the 4th best quarterback in that division. I just think that he's the
Baker
liability.
Mayfield's a bust.
He's the liability for the Browns. He's not a bust like Ryan Leaf, but
Yeah.
yeah, he can win you games, but I just think that he's going to keep them from going far in the playoffs. So they're going to make the playoffs, but I'd say they're an imposter. They're not necessarily what the record says because their schedule's been relatively easy.
All right, here's an interesting question. Who is a bigger bust, Baker Mayfield or Mitch Trubisky? Here, I want to hear what you have.
I'm going to say Baker just because Cleveland has a million weapons.
Here, listen to me. It's Mitch. He got his team to the playoffs, and now look at him. He's benched to Nick Foles, a career backup. So what? He won a Super Bowl. So what? He had that crazy touchdown interception run, and was like second year in the league. Trubisky had everything. He had Anthony Miller. He had I'm blanking on Allen Robinson. He had Jimmy Graham now, who's had a resurgence with Nick Foles. He's had David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen. He's had all these more weapons than Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick.
Are you kidding me?
Now he has more weapons.
Just be quiet.
Now he has
Are you
more
kidding
weapons.
me? Baker Mayfield has a million weapons. Kareem Hunt, he's the only. The Browns are the only team that has like 2 starting running backs: Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You got Jarvis Landry, OBJ, Austin Hooper, David Njoku.
I wouldn't count David Njoku.
Okay, fine, but they still have him. And when he was healthy, he was pretty good. So, I would say that...
Trey Burton.
Well, okay. Yeah, the Bears definitely have less weapons than Cleveland. And at this point, I think it's just...
he had such a better situation, and he still failed.
Well, Baker just... I would say that Trubisky has the better coach, and that's why he got to the playoffs. So, I feel like Trubisky's at least had moments where he's shown he's capable. Baker, I feel like he's more talent dependent. Not saying that Trubisky is. I think he definitely needs help also. But Baker needs the most support and weaponry that you can get to be able to get to the playoffs. I just feel like they're both busts, but if I had to split hairs, I would say Baker just because it's undeniable the talent that he's around.
It's Trubisky. But, alright, next legit or imposter? Tennessee Titans.
Oh, legit. I think that Mike Vrabel has been... I mean, he was a former player and coach with the Patriots, so he's going to bring a great identity to the Titans. And Ryan Tannehill, people like to... Oh, Ryan Tannehill... Okay,
He's had a great year
It's
this
a different... He was a different quarterback with Adam Gase on the Dolphins. Okay, you can't judge... If you're with Adam Gase, you're not going to do well.
The only guy who's done well with Adam Gase is Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Only guy. Jay Cutler. Jay fucking Cutler.
It's just Adam Gase, you're not going to look good with him. And now he gets on the Titans. He's got Derrick Henry. I'd say he's got a slightly above average receiving core with A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, Jonnu Smith. But, the Titans are a real team. They got real players at every position. Now, they do need a pass rush, but other than that, I think they're a viable team, and I think they're going to win the division. I think they're a very well-coached team. I think the Titans are legit. I'm sorry, they're 5-0. They've beaten good teams. They smacked the Bills when they got a week off of COVID and couldn't even practice with their team.
Yeah, and then Derrick Henry just...
Oh my gosh.
Josh Norman.
Okay,
He put Josh Norman in a dirt nap.
Derrick Henry is not... He's a defensive end who's also good at track and playing running back. That's what he is.
Alright. Legit or imposter? Indianapolis Colts.
I would say imposter. This is not a huge imposter. I think that it could go either way, but I think that Phillip Rivers, I think, is the least athletic quarterback in the league, either him or Brady. But because he
You're
just
calling
can't
Brady
run at all.
not athletic?
Well, I mean, like in terms of being able to like scramble out of the pocket and pick up yards with your legs, and he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not that level. So Phillip Rivers, I think.
Yeah, nobody's Lamar Jackson. Maybe Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray are at that level.
Okay, but at least Mahomes can like run for yards and like get first downs. Rivers cannot really. Rivers is just a slow quarterback, so I don't think that he's going to be able. What's covering up what Rivers is incapable of sometimes is that the Colts have I think they have the best offensive line in the league right now. So the Colts, I mean, they lost to the Jaguars, so that's a bad loss. But other than that, I think they beat the Bears, the Vikings.
That's a good win.
The Bears is a good win. They beat the Vikings. Who else did they beat? I'm blanking, but otherwise, I think that they're an imposter just because of the offensive line is so good. Actually, I don't know.
Here's my take. The Indianapolis Colts are legit. Here's why. So what if Phillip Rivers is there? Put in Brissett. Brissett can do just as well, if not better. Let's be real here. With Frank Reich, he can do that. And then you got Jonathan Taylor, one of the best rookie backs. Him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are going for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Are in the race. Those two and Joe Burrow. And then you got a wide receiving core of T.Y. Hilton. That's it. I will give you that. That's literally a hit. Zach Pascal, no. Michael Pittman Jr.'s hurt. But their tight end core might be, if not the best, one of the best. Mo Alley Cox, Trey Burton, and Jack Doyle. They're three deep and guys that could start.
Eric Ebron last year.
Those three guys could all start in the NFL tight end.
They
have such good tight ends.
I don't know about Mo Alley Cox, but I don't know. It's tight.
You don't know about Mo Alley Cox? You kidding me?
Starting?
He could start. Mo Alley Cox.
I don't know. I think he's a backup.
And then, obviously, that amazing offensive line with Constanzo, Kelly, Nelson.
I think I'm going to take back what I said about the Colts. I was close. I think I'm going to say they're legit because I forgot about how good their defense was.
Anthony Walker Jr., Jordan Glasgow, Justin Houston, DeForest Buckner,
Xavier Rhodes,
who's on the Vikings, who was on the Vikings, Tavon Wilson in that secondary, Julian Blackman, T.J. Carey, Malik Hooker, who's on IR.
Oh, Darius Leonard.
Yeah, the linebacker.
Yeah, I was wrong about the Colts. They're legit, and the defense and offensive line. If you got that. I don't know if they can win a Super Bowl, but I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs. Next team.
Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm going to say imposter. I love the direction they're going in. I think Josh Jacobs has proven he's one of the best running backs in the league. I think Derek Carr, other than that year he went to the playoffs. Even this year, I think he's looked the best he's looked.
You know, Connor Cook has never started. He's never started an NFL game since that postseason game.
Yeah, I think he's in the he was in the XFL before that. They got
I don't think he's been signed.
Yeah, I remember him at Michigan State, and then since then I haven't seen him play since the postseason. But yeah, I think that the Raiders, what they don't have, the defense, it's below average pass rush wise. Their secondary just not that good. I think that the receiver are two away from being really good. You know, obviously they added who was it? What Henry Ruggs?
Yeah,
Nelson Aguilar.
They picked him over Jerry Jeudy, which I don't get.
I mean, I could see for like speed to match up with.
I would have picked CeeDee Lamb over Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, I think that they wanted some speed at wide receiver, but they got one of the best tight ends in the game, Dylan Waller.
That's. You got Hunter Renfrow too in that wide receiver.
I feel like the holes on this team are too big. The defense I just think is below average, and that's not good enough. They need some kind of a defense because I don't know if they can get into shootouts with. And granted, they beat the Chiefs, but I don't think they're going to be able to get in shootouts game after game. So I would say there's too many teams in the AFC I think they would lose to on a neutral field. So I'm going to say imposter.
I'm agreeing with you. I just think I love what Gruden's doing, but there's just too many holes in this team. So moving on, we got... This is a big one. The Chicago Bears.
I don't want to say this at all. It really hurts me to say this, but I'm gonna have to say imposter. I don't think they're a 5-1 team, if I'm gonna be honest. Their defense has been really good this year. I'll give them that, but I just think offensively they don't have enough juice. I think that David Montgomery. They need to rebuild the offensive line.
That's true. That's true.
But David Montgomery I think could be doing a lot better if he had better protection. And if you have to go between Foles and Trubisky every game, I don't know if that's going to be that viable in the future to win a playoff game or two. I hate to say this. I want to say they're legit, but I'm not going to be biased in this podcast. I think they're an imposter.
Do you know the Bears have Lamar Miller, the former beast for the Dolphins, on their practice squad?
On the practice squad.
Why don't they have him activated? He was good.
He would definitely be the number 2 with Cohen out.
Yeah. All right. My take. You're gonna have to hear me out, but I'm going with legit. I thought they were an imposter until they played the Buccaneers. Let's be real here. We all know the quarterback situation. Oh, Trubisky sucks. Oh, Foles sucks. Oh, bring in Trace McSorley. But we need the Foles system. He can win. He can grind out wins like he did against the Buccaneers. But then he could also flop like he did against the Colts. He could play like he did for the Falcons. He's a different player every week. But at least more consistent than Trubisky, who is just a bad player every week.
Yeah.
David Montgomery at running back, league average running back. Let's be real.
Yeah, league average.
But their wide receiving core looked to be terrible, but surprisingly is way better than I thought. Especially with the pickup of rookie Darnell Mooney, who's had a great first 6 weeks. And then Allen Robinson doing what he does, but they need to get Cordell Patterson and Ted Ginn Jr. involved in the offense.
Definitely. I'm just surprised when they acquired Ginn that they wouldn't throw his direction even more, considering that he's probably the fastest receiver. He's definitely a speed guy, so I thought they would be able to get downfield more. But I just think that the quarterback is not what they have, and that's what they need. Plus, I think they need to rebuild the offensive line.
That's 100%.
Yeah, but secondary is good. Jalen Johnson's been pretty good.
He's Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I gotta think about that, but he's definitely in the hunt.
Him or Chase Young?
Chase Young, Patrick Queen, Antoine Winfield. Those are probably top 4. But I would say it's close, but Bears are imposter.
Let's talk about this resurgence of Jimmy Graham. He's done well. He's doing better in Chicago with Nick Foles than he did in Seattle with Russell Wilson and Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought Jimmy Graham was completely washed up. I thought he had nothing left, but he's been a surprise this year.
Yeah, that's an understatement. He's been such a surprise. And this defense, they got one of the best, if not the best, linebacking core, Trevathan Quinn, Smith, and Mack. They got a great front 3, Hicks, Nichols, and Roy Robertson-Harris. Then their secondary a little shaky, but really Deion Bush I don't really like as your number 2 safety. But Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson, and Kyle Fuller, always strong.
I thought they should have had Deshaun Gibson as the number 2 safety.
They should.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to last one of legit or imposter. The LA Rams.
I'm going to say legit. I think that maybe I'd be saying legit, and it's going to look bad in the future because, the NFC West, I think them and the AFC North are the best divisions in the NFL. I just think every team in that division is viable for the playoff spot, so the way the cards shake out, they might not make the playoffs, but I think they're legit because they've gotten to a Super Bowl. They have most of the guys back, other than a few key pieces, but they have one of the best receiving cores in the league with Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Josh Reynolds. Cam Akers, I think, has proven to be... They got at least two, maybe not... Yeah, they got Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson, who've been
That's
pretty
a
good
great running back core.
And then they got Everett and Higbee at tight end. And then Jared Goff. People are saying,
he's a league average quarterback.
Jared Goff's just
league
good
average
because of Sean McVay. Okay, name me a quarterback in the history of the game who had a horrible head coach. They don't exist.
Peyton Manning. John Fox.
Okay, but
Well, John Foster's terrible for the Bears. Let's just be real.
like
He was decent with the Broncos.
Peyton had Tony Dungy in Indianapolis, so
He had Jim Caldwell though, who has had success.
okay, but like in most cases, quarterbacks need coaching. So Sean McVay, I think he's one of the, if not the best young coach in the league. I think that the Rams have a lot of good pieces. I think Aaron Donald is what keeps the defense going. Their secondary with Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy.
Okay, Mike McCarthy was a good head coach. I just think that the game has changed, and I just think that Mike is a little bit out of his coaching prime, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just think that Aaron, there's a reason Aaron only got to one Super Bowl. So whether he won one with him or without him, we'll never know. But I think that the Rams are a real team. It just might not look that way because the NFC West is just so good.
And then I'll give you another one. Mike Smith, Matt Ryan in his prime. Remember him for the Falcons? You can say the same thing for Dan Quinn his first couple years.
I mean, I'm
Ryan.
talking all-time greats. Like
All right.
Dan Marino, Don Shula, Brady Belichick,
Mahomes,
Troy
Reed,
Aikman, Jimmy Johnson.
Staubach Landry.
There we go.
We could go on all day about this. Bradshaw, Chuck Noll, Roethlisberger, Tomlin, Roethlisberger, Cowher. These are all great coaches.
All great coaches.
But all right, my pick for the is I'm legit with the Rams. Listen, they got great run. All right, let's just be real. Sean McVay is this, if not the smartest, one of the smartest minds in the NFL. I love Sean McVay. Also, great running back core. You got Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, who are great, very underrated wide receivers. And then you got those Tyler Higbee, great tight end. This whole team is underrated.
It is. I mean, the pass
Jalen
rush,
Ramsey at corner.
and then yeah, the secondary I think is pretty good, and yeah, I just think this whole team is kind of slept on a little.
All right, that wraps around this. And here, I want to give you this. Here are my. All right, listen. Let me get through it, and then you can get in your opinion.
Yep.
Here are my top 5 most disappointing quarterbacks this season. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, top 5 most disappointing quarterbacks of 2020 NFL season. At number 5, got Daniel Jones. I was looking for Jones to make tremendous strides this year, and let's be real, it has not gone well at all. He's thrown for double the interceptions as he has touchdowns, and the Giants just are terrible, and they have a special teams coach as their head coach. Number 4, Kirk Cousins. Let's be real, I didn't know Kirk Cousins is an imposter. That man is not good. He's been an imposter his whole career, even in Washington. Number 3, Joe Burrow. You might disagree with this, but I think Joe Burrow could have done way better than what he is right now.
He's like top 10 in the NFL in passing yards. What can you expect him to do with the roster he has?
I thought he could have flipped that more with Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, John Ross.
Okay, but he has no protection at all, so he's going to be scrambling in the pocket. Okay, go on.
Number 2, I'm going with Boston's own Cam Newton. Listen, he does not look like the Cam he did in Carolina. And let's see, his team is 2-3. I thought Cam with the Patriots would have made them a Super Bowl contender. That's not the case. They just don't look like what they should be. He's thrown, same thing with Daniel Jones, thrown more, double the interceptions as touchdowns. He's not as near as agile as he once was, and he got way overhyped. Number 1, y'all, my answer, Carson Wentz. Dude is terrible, has the most sacks in the league. He has more interceptions than touchdowns. But the problem with a bunch of these guys is they have no receivers.
I'm going to construct my list a little bit, based off what you said. I'm going to exclude guys from my list like Jimmy Garoppolo because they haven't played all the games. But I'm just going to construct my list. And
You got it?
hold on. Okay, so at number 5, we're going to go with Kirk Cousins. I mean, as you pointed out, he's just an imposter. I mean, you like that? I don't like that. I mean, last year, the playoff win, that's the only good real game of his career. He sucks on Monday Night Football.
He just sucks.
He sucks in general. I mean, he was only looked good because he had Thielen and Diggs. I mean, you put him... I mean, when he was on the Washington football team, they were not good at all.
They weren't the football team then, but...
They got to the playoffs like 1 out of 5 years he was there. But, okay, number 4, we're going to go with Sam Darnold. I thought that last year the Jets won 6 out of their last 8 games. Granted, the Jets probably have the worst roster in the league.
Oh, they're goddamn terrible. They lost Jamal Adams, Le'Veon Bell. Who else have they lost? C.J. Mosley opted out.
Who else?
Everyone wants to get out of New York. They're not going to be good until Gary Vee buys the team.
Legitimately, if you ask someone who is the Jets' best player, it's no one. It's Sam Darnold. They do not have a best skill position player on their team anywhere.
The New York Jets won't be good until Gary Vee buys that team. I'm just spitting facts right there. They won't be good until Gary Vaynerchuk buys that team.
Like, there are teams in the league who are going to need a coach next season. Like, at least, like, the Falcons, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Todd Gurley.
Calvin
Ridley. Got some good players. You get to live in the South. That's like a college football type atmosphere.
I mean,
that's a good job.
You get to live in New York. So.
That's a good job. But the Jets, no one really wants to coach
New York's
with.
second team.
The New York second team, and that's the media capital of the world. So
you're just going to get scrutinized.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think if you're offered the Jets job, you take it.
Well, yeah, but
unless you're Bill Belichick.
It's probably going to go to someone who's never been a head coach before. I mean, Matt Rule, the coach of the Carolina Panthers, who was the coach of Baylor last year, he's from New York, and he said, no thanks, I'll take the Panthers job. That's how much the Jets are not a job that anyone wants to take. But, yeah, I think Darnold is number 4 for me. I thought that he could at least provide a spark in the season, at least get them a couple wins by now. He's not been able to do that. They won 6 out of the last 8 games last year, and have not been able to find anything this year. So 4 is Darnold for me. 3, I'm gonna go with Cam Newton for the reasons that you said, mainly because it's Belichick's system. I mean, granted, they probably have the worst or second worst receiving core in the league. N'Keal Harry has looked like a bust. Damiere Byrd, I mean, come on, that is not a number 2 receiver. And Julian Edelman, I haven't really seen much of him play this year, but he's just getting old and up there in age. So, I mean, granted, the Patriots' defense has been pretty subpar this year, but I mean, that's a great. You should be able to win with Belichick, and the fact that he hasn't been able to do that, and he's a former MVP himself, I just don't see how that's gonna work. But yeah, he's the number 3 for me. Number 2, you'd not have him on the list. I'm gonna say Drew Brees. The Saints were
that's a good pick.
The Saints were my pick to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl this year.
They're also my pick to win it.
I mean, their weakness for many years was a number 2 receiver. They added Emmanuel Sanders. He's
had a great year.
I have not heard anything about him this year. He just has not showed up.
Really?
And on that one game when Michael Thomas was injured, I thought that was going to be his time to shine. He had like 1 catch the whole game. So I think that the Saints should be better, especially considering some of the teams they've lost to. They lost to the Raiders. They lost
Sanders has had a couple nice games.
Almost lost to the Chargers. But yeah, I would say Drew Brees has definitely been a disappointment this year. And then number 1 would be Carson Wentz.
Yeah, we all know.
The same reasons. I mean, the man, he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. He's got easily the best coach in the division, so with Doug Peterson, I don't know how you can't win, especially considering you had an MVP season before. You had 18 players on the IR last year, and you were able to win the division. So I don't know how much higher or how much lower the expectation can get when you have most of your roster healthy. You have at least the same, if not better, than last year. And you've lost to teams like the Washington football team.
They don't even have a name. They're that bad.
Yeah, they're that bad. Who else they've lost to? They lost to the not too many. Other than that one, they've had some losses, but they should definitely be well seated to win the NFC East right now. They just haven't been able to capitalize. So Carson Wentz has been the most disappointing quarterback.
All right, now I'm gonna flip it And now I'm going to say the top 5 most underrated QBs and most surprising QBs in the league. Top 5 most underrated QBs in the league. So top 5 most underrated QBs in the league. At number 5, I got Matt Stafford. All right, listen. The man, 70.9 QBR. That's not great. I mean, he's 21st in yards. But listen, his team is terrible. Besides Kenny Galladay, his team's terrible. I don't like who's their coach is
Matt Patricia.
Yeah, Matt Patricia, dude from New England. He is not a good coach. He's got a stupid pencil in his ear all the time. You know you can't trust. He should honestly be more. He should be like on Bob the Builder. He should be a handyman instead of being a coach in the NFL.
Yeah, he was asked once about like how they couldn't stop teams in the fourth quarter and why they're blowing all these big leads. He was just like, because he was with the Patriots at the time and he was coaching the Super Bowl against the Falcons. He was just like, well, I have one of the best players in NFL history, so I'm not worried about us coming back in the future. I think we're a good team. Like, that is a great answer for a talk show podcast. That's not what you say when you're leading an NFL franchise for a professional city.
All right, 4th pick. I was so wrong about this guy coming out of the draft. I'm going Justin Herbert. You remember I said I was going to be the next. You disagreed with me on this point. I thought he was going to be the next Mitch Trubisky based on how similar his stats were in college, but he's honestly made the adjustment. Granted, I think Anthony Lynn in his first year is way better than John Fox and Dowell Loggins in his first year. So let's just be real there. And he also kind of got a break with Tyrod Taylor getting injured by with the team physician, he bust his lung or his rib, cracked his rib or something.
Yeah.
It is something. All right, number 3. Everyone still hates on him for some reason. Ryan Tannehill. As you said, he's not the same guy as he was in Miami. He has Mike Vrabel, a whole new system. He's got Derrick Henry, the most feared running back that allows him to pass more, especially when you got wide receivers like A.J. Brown. Like, that man is a stud. Ole Miss has produced some good wide receivers in A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf.
Yeah, definitely.
But they also have produced some bad ones like Laquan Treadwell.
He might be the biggest bust in the last decade.
For wide receivers?
He was like the number 1 recruit coming out of high school.
Yeah. Alright, number 2. My guy, I thought this man was terrible. I thought the Raiders need to move on. Derek Carr. This man is 11-1 to TDs to interceptions ratio. That is insane. That is great. That is 5 times more touchdowns and interceptions. Derek Carr is number 2 on the list. He's working with John Gruden. John Gruden has really made a good adjustment from the booth to the coaching, the sidelines now. And then number 1, some people might like this. I hate what just happened to him, but we got the kid from Harvard, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, number 1. Listen, he's 12th in yards, 79.7 QBR, but he is finding a way to win with this terrible Miami team. And I'm honestly pissed that Brian Flores took Fitzpatrick out when he has a shot to take this team to the playoffs. Because let's just be real here, Fitzpatrick will go down as the greatest backup quarterback in the NFL history, and he is doing so well in Miami now. Why are you throwing Tua Tagovailoa in there? Why are you throwing Tua in there?
I know he's been a journeyman in the league, as you said. I mean, best backup. He's been having a great year. I say you take Fitzmagic and see where you can go from him, and then maybe next season you can. I mean, this season I thought should have been a learning season for Tua. But at the same time, I could understand as an organization why you'd want Tua to get some snaps, so it's not too late for them to move off of him, just so that they know what they're working with. And in this draft, maybe they could get like Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, but I think the record's good enough. I don't see why they could tank at this point. But yeah, I think Fitzpatrick should have probably.
He should be the starter still.
He should be the starter.
All
okay,
right.
That's your 5.
That concludes my list.
All right, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna make sure that the order is right. Okay,
All right, you got
okay,
yours.
I got my list. And number 5 on the list, we're gonna go to last year's Rookie of the Year, Kyler Murray.
I had him on my list, but I knocked him off for Matt Stafford because I just think he's such a good quarterback, but his whole career has been ruined by being up in the Motor City.
That's true. But Kyler Murray, I did not expect the Cardinals to be winning this year. I thought the DeAndre Hopkins trade was good, but I think it would take a year to develop. But it's been working really well. I mean, granted, last game he didn't connect with him that much, but he's been up there in receiving yards in the league, and Kyler's up there in passing yards too. I mean, granted, he is only 14th in passing yards, but he's winning games. And the Cardinals, I mean, 2 years ago, they were like the laughing stock of the league with Sam Bradford,
Josh Rosen.
I mean, he's definitely been the biggest bust of that draft class, but Kyler's been playing really well. And the Cardinals right now, I think they would be in the playoffs, or at least tied with the Tampa. But I think that Kyler's been playing really well. And then number 4 on my list, I would say Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders last year
should be way higher.
Started off the season pretty well, but slumped to finish the year. So I thought that was going to carry in the last season. I just thought John Gruden wasn't the best coach for Carr based on how they finished the year. I just did not expect them to be winning as well as they have been. But I think that Carr's been doing really well. I think they've found the system, and they proved me wrong, and they've been doing really well, and Derek Carr has definitely been a surprise this year. And then number 3 on the list, we're going to go to the NFC South, Teddy Bridgewater. He's 7th in the league in passing yards. They've had some pretty good receivers. They have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, but I think that he doesn't get enough credit for what he's been able to do. I mean, last year when he had the backup Drew Brees, he got like 5 games in, went 5-0. That's probably what got him the starting job this year in Carolina.
That is what got him the starting job, and what he did with the Vikings.
Yeah, he's definitely an underrated quarterback. I think that people mistake him as a backup. He's a starter, definitely. So he's definitely been underappreciated, and he's been a surprise. I didn't think he'd be winning as well this year as a starter, but especially on that Panthers team that hasn't had a great few last couple of years. But it's definitely been a surprise. So he's number 3 for me. And then number 2 on the list, I'm gonna go maybe not that big of a surprise, but I'm gonna say Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. I thought they would win the division this year, but I didn't think he would be putting up the numbers that he was.
Allen is overrated. Josh Allen's overrated.
Granted, last game against the Chiefs, he did not do too well, but he was leading the league in passing yards for like the first 3 weeks of the season. He has great. The knock on Buffalo last year was the defense was great, but how much do they really have offensively? Similar to the Bears. They got him a deep threat, Stephon Diggs. Look how much better he is and more comfortable he is passing the football. He's looked really well. Maybe the last week has hurt his chance, but I think he's an MVP candidate. If he can keep this up, he's 4th in the league in passing yards. The Bills are leading the division. I think Josh Allen coming out of the draft too. I mean, he went to played college football at Wyoming. I did not think he would translate well to the NFL, but he's proved me wrong. And the Bills right now are leading the division, and I think Josh Allen is one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. I don't know if I'd quite put him in the same class as Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, but he's definitely up there, and I think that he's definitely been a surprise this year and throughout his entire career. And then number 1, biggest surprise from the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill. He signed the big contract in the offseason. A lot of people thought that...
I had to take a quick pit stop. My bad.
Okay. But anyway,
go on with Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill is... he signed the big contract in the offseason. Many thought he didn't deserve it because the reason why the Titans were winning was really because of Derrick Henry. But Tannehill has showed up this season. He's been extremely impactful for the Titans. Hasn't been huge. I mean, he's 19th in passing yards, but he's throwing to good receivers. I think that he only has 2 interceptions on this. 13 TDs to 2 interceptions. That's a ratio of like 13
You consider Corey Davis good?
Corey Davis, he's been a little bit of a bust, but I think that
the kid from Wheaton?
From Wheaton, Warrenville South. Man.
Go ahead.
We don't even want to talk about them. But
they're so
Tannehill,
bad.
He says A.J. Brown, he has Corey Davis, and he has Adam Humphries. So not a great receiving core, but still average. And Jonnu Smith's been a great tight end because of what Tannehill's been able to do. I can't think of a quarterback who was on a team and was like pedestrian at best, and then goes to another team and he's an MVP candidate. Like, he is an MVP candidate. He's gonna make the Pro Bowl. I mean, there are a lot of talented quarterbacks in the AFC, but what Tannehill's doing is undeniable. We can't say this is a fluke anymore. They're 5-0, and they've beaten good teams. So that's my list of the most underrated quarterbacks and most surprising quarterbacks of the 2020 NFL season.
All right, you have some good picks, some questionable picks. Josh Allen, I think, is perfectly rated where he is. I don't think he's under. He might be. I don't think he's over or under. Honestly, I did say he was a little over, but I think he's fine rated where he is. Just like Mahomes, Wilson, you can honestly say he's underrated. Russell Wilson, because he literally has to do everything for that team. Besides, he's just him, Lockett, and Metcalf. Yeah. Wouldn't even consider Chris Carson in there. But Pat, I think we're gonna call a show on Friday. We're gonna talk some Big Ten football because it's coming back. We're gonna talk college football on our Friday show. Will should be here. Pat should be here. I don't know. But we're gonna have a show on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. But this has been episode number 27. Pat, any last thoughts?
It's been a great show. We hope to see you again Friday when Will comes on the set. Thank you for watching. Peace out.
All right. In order, so you guys know, make sure you follow us on TikTok and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you are subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube. And Pat?
Last thing, we're going to be doing another order of these t-shirts. So if you want one, let us know in the comments, and we will get one to you. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll be doing another shirt order. So if you want one, please let us know.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to us on our YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I don't know how it is if it's subscribed on that. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, go and give us a 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated. And then, yeah, check us out on TikTok. We're actually doing pretty well on that app, so go check us out there. But he's Pat. I'm Andrew. This has been episode 27 of the Zoomer Sports Radio. Thanks for watching. Cue the music.